Hello, everyone. I'm Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy. But as you know, this is all about writing journals, creating journals, paper crafting journals so that I can tell my children and grandchildren about their ancestors, one story, one journal at a time. And I've lately been going through, this is part of 52 Things, looking at the artifacts I've inherited through the family. And this is a Battenberg tablecloth. The linen here is the main part of the tablecloth. And the edging has what they would buy in the way of Battenberg strips, sew them together like to make these leaves, do a bit of crochet, combine it with other things. This is absolutely exquisite work. It's just incredible. And so this belongs to the subject of our journal today. I never met my great grandmother. She passed away long before I was born. But anyway, this is how the journal goes. And I'm recording this in particular for my grandchildren who cannot come over and go through the old steamer trunk where I'm planning to store this. COVID is requiring that we remain isolated. And so I'm going to send this to them virtually. Although Tannen most recently said, I can hardly wait to come over and explore the steamer trunk, even though he's seen all the videos. But I digress. This is Estelle Mae Phillips, and I said it's your third great grandmother, and you'll find out why. And her daughter, Frances Irene Goring. Now, Frances was the one you may recall whose mirror we previously put in the old steamer trunk. This is circa about 1906, so our grandmother is about 3 years old or so. And this is Estella's Battenberg Lace tablecloth. Okay, so here we have a little tuck spot with a clip that says genealogists use family Bible records for clues about births, marriages, and deaths. Find Estelle Mae Phillips on these pages. And so I have miniaturized versions of those middle parts of our family Bible. And I do think it was presented to Charles Goring and Estelle Mae Phillips on the occasion of their wedding, the 23rd of May at 8 p.m. in 1900. Now, because that handwriting's the same handwriting as for births, where Charles Goring was born in 1876 and Estelle Mae was born in 1877, I'm inclined to think that the older time period events that are recorded under births and deaths are copied from another family Bible. And then under death, the entry says Estelle Mae Goring, because she married a Mr. Goring, died at 9:30 p.m. Sunday, September 11th, 1921, and was buried at Graceland Cemetery in Knoxville, Iowa. And there's a few more things. She had rose cancer, which I believe is cancer of the face, but I'm not entirely positive. We don't know everything, do we? In fact, some of the things they called in things in the olden days have nothing to do with what we call them these days. Anyway, as we turn the page, I have created a chart that lists my grandchildren and their mothers. And this is the maternal line. Their mom is me. I'm the grandma. Great grandma is Barbara Froman, not my great grandma, their great grandma. And then Frances Goring, the little girl in the picture, is their second great grandmother. And the third great grandmother is Estelle Mae Phillips, who was married to Charles Henry Goering. So a little bit of a glimpse at what a pedigree chart might look like. But we're just following mostly the maternal lines, although we did mention some of the husbands. Okay, so we turn the page. This is a picture, and all of the pictures that I have are in my possession. The documents I found online or in person at the National Archives. This is a picture of Frances, the little girl. It's kind of um, overexposed, so I'm sorry, but it's the best we can do. That's her daddy, whom she totally adored. Totally adored Charles Henry Goring. And this is Estelle Mae Phillips Goring, Phillips being her maiden name. Okay. Now over here, I've got a tuck spot that has a card attached. So when we flip it over, I'm writing to my grandchildren saying, "You've seen a census record before. Look for 442 Cherry Street in Olathe, Kansas, and see if you can decipher Charles Goring's occupation." Smiley face. And then on the reverse side, see if you can find the official marriage record from Marion County, Iowa for Charles, well, Goring, Chas, C-H-A-S period, H. Now that's important to let you kids know. When we look at a document like a marriage record where they've abbreviated Charles's name, we write it exactly as it was found in the document, not adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. And they called her Estella M. Phillips. So we know he's really Charles, but the document says Chas. And we know her middle name is May, but all they have is M. So there. All right, so here is the census record. And I did give him a clue. Because there's Charles Henry Goring. Let's see if I can't get it in focus. It's just too tiny for this particular camera. But if they go across, they will find out that he is a traveling salesman. That was his job. And on this side, they have to look, and I'm not going to give it away. Well, first of all, the census is the 1920 census, in which grandmother Frances, my grandmother, their great-grandmother, was 14 years old. Okay, and then this is a page that has been digitized from Iowa, Secretary of State, Board of Health, return of marriages for Marion County, Iowa, for the year ending December 1900. And they will have to look because the entries go across. The column headings are the license number, the groom's name, the groom's age and his race, the groom's place of birth and his father's place of birth and his his father's name and his mother's maiden name. And then the full name of the bride. So it goes across 2 pages. The bride's age at her most recent birthday and her race, her place of birth, and information on her parents as well, and where they were married, when the return was sent. Now, these are returns of marriage. You could have a license, but they might not have decided to actually get married. But in this case, we do have a full-fledged marriage. These are just some of the things that genealogists make note of. It took me a long time before I found this marriage record, mostly because I never traveled to Iowa. Oh, let me get this clip back on. And the records weren't digitized until recently. So when I say recently, I've been doing this since the early 70s. I mean, not early, yeah, early 70s. But seriously, since about the early 80s. And at that time, we didn't have digital records. You'd have to go to the courthouse if you could not order a microfilm, say from Family History Library in Salt Lake City. So the next thing I need to do is go up to my office to find that steamer trunk to place this in. I'm also going to find some acid-free tissue paper to wrap this very precious linen and Battenberg lace tablecloth so that it can be carefully preserved. And I don't want any other things that might be going in that steamer trunk to damage any of this very fine, not embroidery, um, what do you call that? Crochet. I was trying to say tatting, but this is crochet work.
Now I've moved upstairs to my office for the ceremonial placement of the journal and the Battenberg Lace. It's been a lot of fun telling the story of my ancestor, Estelle Mae Phillips Goering. And I still have to get the tissue paper to protect that. And luckily the bear didn't get me. Nothing left to say but happy family tree climbing, everybody. That's a wrap.